Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this event wherever you are joining from. Today we are going to learn about the basics of Microsoft Azure. The topic of today's event is Introduction to Microsoft Azure, Concepts, Components and Service. Here I am your organizer and speaker, Anika Taslim, Alpha Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I am a student of Shahjalan University of Science and Technology. So let's review the contents of today's event. At first, I'm going to give an introduction on Microsoft Azure. Then we will talk about the basics of cloud computing and Azure architectural components and Azure service. We will also talk about what's in it for you and why you should create your own Azure account. And I will show you how you can create your account, free Azure account, and I will give you information on Azure fundamentals. And then we will have an open quiz. I will ask you some questions from our learning, and anyone can answer that. And at last, we will have a Q&A session. You can raise your hand, and I will let you to ask questions. So, what is Microsoft Azure? Azure is mainly a cloud computing platform which gives you an ever-expanding set of services to help you build solutions to meet your business goals. Azure service range start from a simple web service to running a fully virtualized computers for you to run your custom software solution. So from the definition of Azure, we have found two keywords. The first one is cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing means the delivery of computing service over the internet, which is also known as the cloud. It includes servers, storage, database, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence. So you can ask me now why you should know about Azure. But before defining Azure, I want to tell you why you need cloud. So cloud gives you a nearly limitless pool of raw compute, storage, and networking components to use. Cloud has speech recognition and other cognitive service that help you make your application stand out from the crowd. Cloud provides analytics service that deliver telemetry data from your software and device. And lastly, cloud use a pay-as-you-go pricing model. Thus, you only pay for the portion which you have used. So it's super cost efficient for you. Now, let's talk about some special features of cloud computing. High availability. Your cloud-based apps can provide a continuous user experience with no apparent downtime, even when things go wrong. These apps can provide high availability feature. Scalability. So scalability can be provided vertically and horizontally. Scale vertically to increase compute capacity by adding RAM or CPUs to a virtual machine. Scaling horizontally increases compute capacity by adding instance of resource such as virtual machine to the configuration. And then elasticity. You can configure cloud-based apps to take advantage of auto scaling, so your apps always have the resource they need. Agility. You can deploy and configure cloud-based resource quickly as your app requirements change with time. And then we have geo distribution. You can deploy apps and data to regional data centers around the globe. You can ensure that to have the best performance in any particular region using cloud. And the last one, disaster recovery. So you can use cloud-based backup service, data replication, and geo distribution. Thus, you can deploy your apps with the confidence that your data is safe during any disaster. So now let's talk about cloud service models. There are three types of models for cloud computing: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. You can see from the slide that we are assuming cloud structure as a pyramid. So the top of the pyramid is software as a service model. Platform as a service model is the center of the pyramid, and infrastructure as a service is the bottom layer. Can anyone guess why software as a service is at the top and infrastructure as a service is at the bottom of the pyramid? Can anyone guess it?
Because of user specification, user comfortable, get proper service easily, user বেনিফিটের জন্য।
Yeah, that's right. And you can also, I am going to also give you the like proper answer of it. So the rest of you can think about it, and I'm going to answer it in the next slide. So, okay, so from this slide you can see, and I think now you have some like understanding that why software as a service is at the top. But first, let's talk about each model. So, infrastructure as a service model is the closest to managing physical servers. A cloud provider will keep the hardware up to date, but operating system maintenance and networking configuration is up to you as the cloud tenant. So, can you give me an example of infrastructure as a service? Microsoft virtual machines or Azure virtual machines can be an example for the infrastructure as a service model, because like Azure virtual machines are fully operational virtual compute device running in the Microsoft data centers. An advantage of setting a new cloud or advantage of infrastructure as a model is rapid deployment of new compute device. Setting up a new virtual machine is considerably faster than installing, procuring, and configuring a physical server. And then we can talk about the platform as a service model. So platform as a service model is hosting environment. It's a hosting environment, managed hosting environment, and the cloud provider manage the virtual machines and the networking resources. And the cloud tenant like you and me can deploy our applications into the managed hosting environment. For example, Azure App Service provides a managed hosting environment where developers can upload their web application, and they don't have to worry about the physical hardware and software requirements. So that is our platform as a service. And the last one is software as a service model. So the cloud provider manages all the aspects of the application environment, such as virtual machine, networking resource, data storage, and applications. The cloud tenant only needs to provide their data to the application managed by the cloud provider. I believe that everyone present here has used software as a service. So what can be, like, can you guess that what is an example of software as a service? I am going to give you a simple example. We maximum of people here, we have used it. So that is Microsoft Office 365. So like, I think everyone present here has used Microsoft 365. So we use Excel and like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, everything. So Microsoft 365 is actually a software as a service, because Microsoft 365 provides a fully working version of Microsoft Office and that runs in the cloud. So all you need to do is create your content, provide your data, and Office 365 takes care of everything else. So you don't have to worry about anything here. So that is our software as a service. And then, okay, so let's be more specific that how we can differentiate them. So in this slide, you can see that the green box shows that those stuff will be controlled by you and the others will be controlled by the provider. You can see in the infrastructure as a service, you can manage applications, data, runtime of your applications, and middleware. So the rest will be controlled by the provider, including operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, and networking. In the platform as a service, you can see that you only manage your applications, and data. But in this software as a service, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything will be automated by the provider. So you will create your content using available resource. So it's super easy to work with software as a service model. So I think like the rest of the people who cannot give the answer. So I think it's clear to everyone like why software as a service is at the top and infrastructure as a service is at the bottom, because software as a service is like super useful and super easy to use, and like infrastructure as a service, you have to take care of many things by yourself. So that's why software infrastructure as a service is at the bottom layer and software as a service is at the top. So as now you know what cloud computing is, let's talk about why you should choose Azure as your cloud computing platform. So at first, what does Azure offer? Infrastructure management. You have Azure virtual machines to set and manage the infrastructure of your workplace for you, and Azure is deploying your new computer device rapidly and setting up a new virtual machine faster than installing and configuring a physical server. Then scalability. Azure is providing an amazing scalability to increase compute capacity either vertically or horizontally, how you prefer. Then availability, Azure is providing you high availability. If one of your servers goes down, Azure creates an alternate operator for you so that you can continue your work while disaster. And then development, Azure makes you ready for the future by continuous innovation from Microsoft that supports your development today and your product vision for tomorrow. Then choice. Azure gives you the scope to build your service on your choice. You can deploy how you want and deploy where you want to. Next, seamless hybrid operation with Azure. Azure provides its service in the cloud and at the edge wherever you are. You can manage your environments with tools and services that are designed for a hybrid cloud solution. And lastly, we have security. Azure offers you security from the ground up, backed up by a team of experts, and proactive compliance trusted by enterprise, governments, and startups. So you can trust your cloud now with Azure. So now we have our next slide. So our next topic is Azure architectural components. Organizing structure for resource in Azure has 4 levels: management, groups, subscription, uh, resource groups, and resource. Here, the closest level for you is the resource. Resources are instances of service that you create, like virtual machines, storage, SQL database, to manage your business goals. Then these resources are combined into resource groups. Resource groups act like a logical container. A single container can manage many resources you can see from this picture, and Azure resources like web apps, database, and storage accounts are deployed and managed in a resource group. Subscription. So a subscription can include a resource group or many more. For each subscription, there are limits on the number of resources that you can create and use. Organizations can have several subscriptions to manage cost and the resources that are created by users, teams, or any other projects. And the last one and the top one is the management group. So a management group can buy multiple subscriptions. These groups help you manage access, policy, and compliance for multiple subscriptions. All your subscription in a managed group automatically inherit the conditions applied to the managed group, and they will act as their managed groups has included. So next is Azure Resume. So now as we have learned about Azure Resource and Resource Group, let's talk about Azure Resume. What is Azure Resume? A region is a geographical area on the planet that contains at least one but potentially multiple data centers that are nearby and network together with a low latency network. If I simplify it, then regions are different geographical locations around the globe that are created to contain Azure data centers. So resources are created in regions, and Azure intelligently assigns and controls resource within each region to explain workloads are appropriately balanced. When you use a service of Azure or like create a resource such as SQL database or like virtual machine, you are using physical equipment in one or more of these locations. So that's why when you deploy a resource in Azure, you will often need to choose the region where you want your resource deployed. So then how Azure regions make Azure the best cloud provider. So Azure regions give you the flexibility to bring applications closer to your users no matter where they are. Global regions provide better scalability and redundancy as Azure has more than global regions than any other cloud provider. They also preserve data redundancy for your service, and that's one of the reasons why you should choose Azure as your cloud provider. So next, what is availability zone? Availability zones are physically separate data centers within an Azure region. You can see from this picture that each availability zone is made up of one or more data centers equipped with independent power, cooling, and networking. The reason behind creating availability zone is you want to ensure that your service and data are redundant, right? So you can protect your information in case of a failure. So, and that is the reason why an availability zone is created. So an availability zone is set up to be an isolation boundary. That's why if one of the zone goes down, the other continues working. So you can see that availability zones are they are mainly connected through high-speed fiber optic network. Then we have the region pair. In this picture, you can see that. Okay, I am going to compare. So in this picture, you can see that each region pair with another region. They are creating a region pair, and the Azure regions should be located within the same geography. In a geography, there can be several region pairs. If an extensive Azure outage occurs, one region out of every pair is prioritized to make sure that at least one is restored as quickly as possible for application hosted in that region pair. Thus, you can use them to provide reliable service and data redundancy. So next, we have what is Azure Resource Manager. Simply, Azure Resource Manager is the deployment and management service for Azure. It provides a management layer that enables you to create, update, and delete resource in your Azure account. You use Azure management features like access control, logs, and tags to secure and organize your resource after deployment. So you can ask me how it works. Please look at this picture that when a user, you can see that when a user, like here our users at Azure portal, Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI, REST clients. So they are like any of the a user sends a request from any of these Azure tools or APIs. Though then resource manager receives the request. It authenticates and authorizes the request. Resource manager sends the request to the Azure service uh, uh, which takes the requested action. So because all the requests are handled through the same API, you see consistent result and capabilities in all the different tools. So next we have Azure service. So in this picture, you can see that all the available service and features in Azure. But and I have also listed the most used categories here, including compute, resource, networking, storage, mobile, database, web, Internet of Things, big data, AI, and DevOps. But I am not going to discuss all of them. I am going to discuss the core service of the Azure. So our first one is Azure Compute Service. So Azure Compute Service is an on-demand computing service for running cloud-based application. It provides computing resources such as disk, processors, memory, networking, and operating systems. Azure supports a wide range of computing solutions, but the most prominent service include Azure Virtual Machine, Azure App Service, Azure Containers Instance, Azure Kubernetes Service, Azure Functions, and Azure Virtual Desktop. So first, we have Azure Virtual Machine. With Azure Virtual Machine, you can create and use virtual machines in the cloud. Virtual machines provide infrastructure as a service model, and just like a physical computer, you can customize all the software running on the virtual machine. Virtual machines are ideal choice for you when you need total control over the operating system, the ability to run custom software, to use custom hosting configuration. And then we have Azure App Service. So App Service enables you to build and host web apps, background jobs, mobile backends in the programming language of your choice without managing infrastructure. So it offers automatic scaling and high availability. It uses program as a service model. Types of app service can include like web apps, API apps, web jobs, and mobile apps. So then we have Azure Container Instance. So it offers the fastest and simplest way to run a container in Azure without having to manage any virtual machine or adopt any additional service. Containers are designed to allow you to respond to change on demand. With containers, you can restart in case of a crash or hardware interruption. It uses a platform as a service model for the service. So then we have Azure Kubernetes service. It is a complete orchestration service for containers with distributed architectures and large volumes of containers. Now, what is orchestration service, right? So the task of automating and managing and interacting with a large number of containers is known as orchestration. So Azure Kubernetes service just is a complete orchestration service for your containers with distributed architecture and large volumes of containers. Then we have Azure Functions. When you are only concerned about your code running your service and not the underlying platform or infrastructure, you can use Azure Functions then. Functions are commonly used when you need to perform work in response to an event, timer, or message from another Azure service, and that work can be completed within seconds. Functions scale automatically based on demand. So when demand is variable, you can use Azure Functions. So then we have Azure Virtual Desktop. Azure Virtual Desktop is a desktop and application virtualization service that runs on the cloud. It enables you to use a cloud-hosted version of Windows from any location. Azure Virtual Desktop also provides centralized security management for users' desktop. Simplified management, performance management, and multi-session Windows 10 deployment service is the key features of Azure Virtual Desktop. We have our next service, that is Azure Networking Service. So Azure provides some networking service, but I am going to talk about Azure Virtual Network, Azure VPN Gateway, and Azure Express Route. So Azure Virtual Networks. Azure Virtual Networks enable Azure resources such as virtual machines, web apps, and database. You can communicate by using Azure Virtual Network with your with each other, with users on the internet, and with the on-premise client computers. You can think Azure network as a set of resources that links other Azure resources. Azure Virtual Networks provide some key networking capabilities such as uh, isolation and segmentation, internet communication, communicate between Azure resource, communicate with on-premise resource, uh, uh, route networks traffic, filter network traffic, and connect virtual networks. So then we have Azure VPN gateway. So we all know about VPN, right? So VPNs use an encrypted channel within another network. VPN is a type of virtual gateway, and Azure VPN gateway enables three types of connectivity: site-to-site connection, point-to-site connection, and network-to-network connection. So what is site-to-site connection? Site-to-site connection means it connects on-premise data center to virtual networks. Point-to-site connection means it connects individual device to virtual networks. And network-to-network connection means it connects virtual networks to other virtual networks. You deploy a VPN gateway. You specify the VPN type, policy-based or route-based. The main difference between them is how traffic is specified to be encrypted. Policy-based VPN gateway specify which IP address of packets should be encrypted through each channel. But with route-based VPN IP routing decides which channel to use when sending each packet. So then we have Azure Express Route. Express Route lets you extend your on-premise networks into the Microsoft Cloud over a private connection with the help of a connectivity provider. Express route connection don't go over the public internet. That's why express route connection offer more reliability, faster speed, consistent latency, and higher security. Express route enables direct access to some service in all regions, such as Microsoft Office 365, Microsoft Dynamics 365, Azure Compute Service, such as Azure Virtual Machines, and Azure Cloud Service, such as like Azure Cosmos DB and Azure Storage. We will talk about them later. And Azure Express Route supports three models to connect on-premise network to the Microsoft Cloud. Cloud Exchange co-location, point-to-point Ethernet co-location, any-to-any connection. So you can see the each of how they are connecting with each other. You can see from this picture that Cloud Exchange co-location means that you are using your location and you are like Cloud Exchange, you are exchanging your cloud, and that's how you are using this connection. And the second one is point-to-point Ethernet. So you are connecting two points or two device or some device with each other by the Ethernet connection. And any-to-any means like you can use any device or any virtual machine to any other virtual machine. So there's no complications or no problems in that. So our next is Azure Storage Service. I'm going to talk about the three storage services that you can use: Azure Blob Storage, Azure Disk Storage, and Azure Files Storage. So Azure Blob Storage. Azure Blob Storage is an object storage solution for the cloud. It can store massive amounts of data such as text or like binary data. Azure Blob Service is unstructured, so meaning that there are no restriction or any kinds of data, and it can hold each type of data. Blob storage can manage thousands of uploads, massive amounts of like video data, constantly growing log files, and can be reached from anywhere with an internet connection. Then we have Azure Disk Storage. So disk storage provides disk for Azure virtual machines. Applications and service can access and use this disk as needed. Disk storage allows data to be persistently stored and accessed from an attached virtual hard disk. Azure files storage. Azure files offers fully managed file shares in the cloud. You can use Azure files to write data to a file share and process or analyze the data later. To store configuration files on a file share and access from multiple virtual machines. And many on-premise applications use file shares. So you can use Azure files to make it easier to migrate those applications that share data to Azure. Then we are going to learn about some database service. So here for the first one is Azure Cosmos DB. So Azure Cosmos DB is a globally distributed multi-model database service. Azure Cosmos DB provides comprehensive service level agreements for throughput, latency, availability, and consistency guarantees. You can elastically and independently scale throughput and storage across any number of Azure regions worldwide. Azure Cosmos DB supports schema-less data, which lets you build highly responsive applications to support consistently changing any data. So next we have Azure SQL database. So Azure SQL database is a relational database based on the latest stable version of Microsoft SQL Server database engine. So SQL database is a high performance, reliable, fully managed and secure database. You can use it to build data-driven applications and websites in the programming language of your choice without needing to manage any infrastructure or any platform. Azure SQL Database is a platform as a service database model, and it uses the platform as a service model. So then we have Azure Database for MySQL. So Azure Database for MySQL is a relational database service in the cloud, and it's based on the MySQL Community Edition database engine like versions 5.6, 5.7, and 8.0. Azure Database for MySQL delivers built-in high availability with no additional cost, predictable performance, and inclusive pay-as-you-go pricing model, and scale as needed within seconds, ability to protect sensitive data at rest and in motion, automatic backups, enterprise-grade security, and compliance. So then we have Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics is a limitless analytics service that brings together enterprise data warehousing and big data analytics. You can query data on your term by using either serverless or provision resource at scale. So then we have Azure HD Insight. Azure HD Insight is a fully managed open source analytics service for enterprise. It's a cloud service that makes it easier, faster, and more cost-effective to process massive amounts of data. You can run popular open source frameworks and create cluster types. HD Insight also supports a broad range of scenarios such as extraction, transformation, and loading, data warehousing, machine learning, and IoT. So now, what's in it for you? So you can ask me like, I know many of you have joined from tech background, and many of you have joined from like non-tech background. So many people from our today's learning, many people can complain that that Azure is not for non-tech people. Azure is only Microsoft Azure is only for the tech people, but it's not true. If you like technology and want to start working on cloud, then you are invited to Microsoft Azure. Anyone can create their own website hosted in Azure, and you can create a website for your business or any other purpose to run your business or many other things. So if you are an entrepreneur, you should learn about Azure. You should use Azure so that you can use your applications, your users, your every application, your data system, operating system, everything, so that you can use like Azure service for your business to grow up. If you want to save your data on cloud or run your necessary application, Azure can assist you in that. If you have interest in app development or web development, you can use various service from Azure Marketplace. So it's not important which background you belong. So if you have interest in app development or web development, you can use various service from Azure Marketplace. So it's not important which background you belong. Microsoft Azure has amazing service for all of you, irrespective of your background. So then, to create and use Azure service, you need an Azure subscription. If you are new to Azure, you can sign up for a free account on the Azure website to start exploring at no cost to you. When you are ready, you can choose to upgrade your free account. So what does Azure free accounts include? So Azure free accounts include free access to popular Azure products for 12 months, a credit to spend for the first 30 days, access to more than 25 products that are always free. To sign up for a free account, you need a phone number, a credit card, and a Microsoft or GitHub account. The credit card information is used only for the identity verification only. So you won't be charged for any service until you upgrade to a paid subscription. I am not going to show you how you can create a free Azure account since I don't have a credit card yet. But I am going to show you how you can create a free student Azure account. So before that, learn what you can do with your student account. The Azure free student account offer you free access to certain Azure service for 12 months, a credit to use in the first 12 months, and free access to certain software developer tools, and $100 credit every student account. So look at the requirements for creating your student account. You only need a Microsoft account and a student email ID. Student email ID means an account that is provided by your college or your university, which has an extension like .edu. So also you don't need any credit card to sign up for a student account. So you can only create one Azure account from your student ID. Now I am going to show you all the steps how you can create your free Azure student account. It's not important to have a Microsoft account with your student ID. You can use different accounts to create Azure and use student account to verify your identity. So you all can create your Azure account now with me by following step by step. If you don't have a Microsoft account or student email ID now, then just learn these steps. So later, when you get them, you can create your free student account. I'm going to now close my screen and I'm going to open my browser to show you how you can create your free Azure account. So let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes.
Is my screen visible? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
So now, everyone please open your browser and we are going to type your .microsoft.com/, okay, sorry. microsoft.com. Okay, I have, so then slash, then en, then hyphen r slash, then free slash students. So that's our URL for this page, or you can like search for like Azure free student account. Then at the first of the search bar, you will find this website. So this is the page. So this is the page where you can create your free Azure student account. So you can see here that it says that get $100 credit for and free developer tools. Sign up without a credit card. So you don't need any credit card, and you can get $100 credit and free developer tools. So just let's start. So I am going to click on the start free. And then I am going to use a random account, and that is a Microsoft account. So I'm going to use my Microsoft account, and then we have to sign in. So I'm going to click my password. We are going to sign in. So after you sign in to this page, then it will ask you to verify your identification. So at first, you have to verify your identification by your phone number. So at first, I am going to select my country code as I am from Bangladesh. So I am going to select Bangladesh, and I am going to add my phone number here. So if you have created your Microsoft account with your academic like .edu email ID, so then you don't have to fill out this process, because you have already created that. So as I have used a random email address, so I have to verify my student ID. So that's why I am you can see here the verification method. There are many methods like school email address, verification code, or like a school account. So I am going to add the school email address, and then I have to add my student email ID that I have got from my university. So I have to just put on here and then re-enter here. So that's all. And then I am going to click on the verify academic status. So after clicking on the verify academic status, it will send a link to your student email ID. So I am going to like verify academic email, and I am going to open my my student email account inbox. So I am going to open my inbox. So here I should get an, okay. So here you can see it. So Microsoft Academic Verification, it will take some time. Okay, here it is. So Microsoft Academic Verification, so you can see that it's confirming my academic status. So here is a link. You can see a link here. So we have to use this link to get back to our the next that will create a next page. We have to click on that, but before that, just know that this email, like the verification email confirming your academic status, this is only valid for 5 days, 5 working days. So if you don't use this in the next 5 days, then it will automatically remove you from your access. So you have we are now going to click on that, and have clicked on that link, and it has taken me to this page. So here I have to like add my country and my first name, last name, and then my address line and my city, state, postal code, and everything. And I have to agree with them on some privacy statement. So if you want to check this subscription agreement or offer details, so you can click on this link, and that will take you that page. So if you can click on that box and you can click on the sign up. So that's how you can sign up for a free student Azure account. So that's all. You don't have to do anything else, and that's how you can create your free Azure account. Okay, there's any confusion? Anyone have any confusion, or if you are facing any problem creating your Azure free account, if you are doing it with me? Okay, so I think there's no problem. So I can now go back to my slides. Okay, is my screen visible now?
Yes. Yes, it's
Okay,
visible.
thank you so much. So then we have learned about how to create a free Azure student account. So after that, we are going to talk about Azure fundamentals. So what is Azure fundamentals? Azure fundamentals is a series of 6 learning paths that familiarize you to Azure and its many services and features. Azure fundamentals include interactive exercises that give you hands-on experience with Azure. Many exercise provides like a temporary Azure environment called the sandbox, which allows you to learn for free and at your own pace. So technical IT experience is not required at all for Azure fundamentals. Take Azure fundamentals if you have general interest in Azure or in the cloud, or if you want to earn official certification from Microsoft. So how can you earn official certification from Microsoft? The Azure Fundamental Learning Path series can help you prepare for an exam that will give you the official certification from Microsoft. So you can, if you are interested to take exam AZ900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, then you can complete the learning path of Azure Fundamentals and then you can sit for this examination. So that's all about Azure fundamentals. If you like, if you are interested, so you can search for Azure fundamentals, and that's how you can find on the Microsoft Docs. So there you can find the Azure fundamentals learning path. There are 6 learning paths. So after the completion of 6 learning paths, you can sit for this examination. So after that, we have our quiz. So we have learned about Microsoft Azure cloud computing and Microsoft Azure's architectural components, and we have learned about the Azure service. So now we can like check our understanding on Azure fundamentals and Azure like service components and concepts. So this is an open quiz. So if anyone is interested to answer this question, so you can or at the end I will give you the answer. So our first question is, suppose you are working in the tech department of your company. Your manager wants you to choose a cloud service model for your company that suits your company the most. Your manager also wants a service that will automatically manage your virtual machines and networking resources so that you don't have to worry about the physical hardware and the software requirements. But you want to make sure that you can deploy your applications by yourself. So now, which cloud service will you choose? To
Azure,
answer this,
Azure cloud service, Azure's cloud service.
yes, you can select Azure cloud service, but I said that there are 3 types, like infrastructure as a service model, uh, platform as a service model, and software as a service model. So if you are asked to choose which service model will you choose for this scenario, like
Software as a
Platform.
service. Software as a service.
Platform.
okay.
Software.
So okay, so I have heard that one has said software as a service model, and one has said platform as a service model. So any other guesses? Like we have only left infrastructure as a service model. So I can answer that now. So the correct answer will be platform as a service model. So why this is a platform as a service model? So we know that in platform as a service model, you can deploy your applications into managed hosting environment, and you don't have to worry about the physical hardware and the software requirements. You can see from this question that at the end of the quiz, we have said that you want to make sure that you can deploy your applications by yourself. But I have assured you that in software as a service model, you don't have any right, or you don't have any access on applications and your data. So everything will be completed and provided by your provider, or managed by your provider, deployed by your provider. So you can just create your content, and that's all you can do in software as a service. But in this scenario, you want to make sure that you can deploy your applications by yourself. So that's why it won't be the software as a service. You want that you don't have to worry about the physical hardware and software requirements, but you want to deploy your application by yourself. So that's why it will be platform as a service. So our next quiz. Suppose you are in a team. The primary concern of your team is to perform work in response to an event that needs a response in a few seconds. Your team leader wants a service that can work best at this situation. So now, which service will you choose? Any guesses?
Microsoft Team.
Okay, one has said Microsoft Team. Any other guesses?
Google Meets.
Google Meets. Okay. So I think I was talking about we have talking about the components, the service of Microsoft Azure. So mainly we are talking about the cloud system. So Google Meet or so Microsoft Team, that won't be the correct answer. Look at here that the primary concern of your team is to perform work in response to an event. Okay, so that needs a response in a few seconds. So if you use Microsoft Team, so you can assign or you can communicate with your team, or you can assign a task. Maybe they can't respond in a few seconds. So it will be problematic for a person to respond in a few seconds. So you can use any service, Azure service, that will be best for this scenario. So from the service, we can use computing service, Azure computing service. So the answer will be Azure functions. We learned that Azure functions are commonly used when you need to perform work in response to an event, timer, or message from any other Azure service. And that work can be completed within seconds. So you can see from this quiz that our requirements is we have to respond to an event, and it will be completed in a few seconds. So in this task, you can choose Azure function, because Azure function can provide you a response in a few seconds, and you can perform your work in a few seconds. So it would be great for if you choose the Azure functions to in this scenario. Yeah, Mohammed Lema.
Hello, Anita. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Anika?
How are you?
Okay, Phil. I'd like to ask if there are a possibility of getting a link for this kind of video so that you can just review it well. I think it would be appreciated if it would be possible.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you very much.